We are back here once again to recap week 3, and it was a great one. We're going to start off with Montreal versus Scranton. Here to kick off game 1, first drive for Scranton, and it's going to be a long one-handed touchdown for Liam Ryan. And they would go on to win game 1, and here's Liam Ryan again in game 2 with the interception, and the offense would get the ball back, and they'd take game 2 on this rushing touchdown by Jaharis Seals. The high-power Scranton offense was just too much for Montreal in this one. They take game 3 on this touchdown by Luke Vaughn, and they would also take game 4. Montreal put up a fight in the end, but Scranton ends up with the sweep. So here's a look at the standings. Montreal falls all the way to 3rd place, and Scranton takes the number 1 spot for the time being. The second slate of games was Baltimore versus Washington, and this was a surprising one, folks. Early in game 1, Daniel Calkins and Evan Snow connect for 2 touchdowns to give them a 2-1 lead. And on the very next play, it's Brendan Maher taking the pick 6 back to the house to give Baltimore their first win in franchise history. After their rough 0-8 start, all these games are pretty much must win for Baltimore. They find themselves down 2-1, but it's Daniel Calkins and Evan Snow again for a long touchdown to tie the game up at 2. So Baltimore's defense comes up big with a defensive stop, and it's Maher again with his second game-winning touchdown. Baltimore goes to 2-0 on the day. Unfortunately, it was not all sunshine and rainbows for Baltimore. Washington took a commanding win in game 3. 3-0. And Washington also came up big in game 4 in the beginning. They take the ball back on the first drive, but Baltimore is going to get the ball right back. Evan Snow at the interception takes it all the way back. They go up 1-0 even after starting off with a turnover. So despite losing game 3, Baltimore wins the series 3-1. And who else but Evan Snow with the game-winning touchdown. So here's a look at those standings now. Montreal moves back up into 2nd place, and Baltimore keeps their playoff hopes alive. So we will just briefly recap Virginia versus Jacksonville here just for the sake of the video, but things got pretty chippy in this one. Jacksonville ended up with the series win 3-1 despite only 2 of the games being played. Virginia did end up forfeiting the last 2 games. So Jacksonville creeps up 1 spot in the South Division. They move to 2nd place. Virginia falls to 3rd. So now we move into our last games here. It's 1st place Tennessee taking on 4th place Georgia. Tennessee would take the first 2 games in this one. Game 1, it's a receiving touchdown for Kieran Jurgensen to win the game. And in game 2, it is a rushing touchdown for the same man. They win both of the first 2 games. I am just now noticing that I messed up the scoreboard here, but Georgia would take game 3 on the back of Jack Gish. He had 2 rushing touchdowns in this one. Now for game 4, arguably the best game of the day, Jeff Henn starts the game off with an end-zone-to-end zone touchdown. After a Georgia punt, it's Sam Morse with a rushing touchdown of his own. Tennessee up 2-0. But Georgia was down but not out. It's Ryan Beltram showing off that 0-60. He is flying down the sideline for a touchdown. And then it is a huge mental mistake here for the team captain, taking the intentional grounding call and the safety. So Tennessee would keep the ball, but Georgia has the game tied up. And Tennessee would go for a Hail Mary of sorts, and it would fall incomplete, Georgia's ball. And the Tennessee defense would not learn from their mistakes here. It's that same man again, Ryan Beltram, with a game-winning rushing touchdown. Sam Morse took home player of the game honors with over 250 receiving yards on the day, and he had this to say.
I just want to call out my division rival, Superman. He was out here on the sidelines being a snake, helping out the other team. We're coming for you in the playoffs, baby. Let's do it.
So despite not being able to manage the series win here, Tennessee does clinch their playoff spot, and they look to clinch the South Division title next week.